Om Shanti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to another Yoga Small Talk, and we continue with 7 minutes Bhagavad Gita a day. So we have just concluded the part of the intensive care to Arjuna, if you will. Arjuna was having a state of complete meltdown. He was feeling completely devastated, weak, and Lord Krishna was giving him emergency care in the form of the highest wisdom of Jnana Yoga, the science of the immortal self. And now Lord Krishna is continuing to expand Arjuna's perspective, but is taking it back a little bit to arguments that are more from day-to-day life. Verse 26, chapter 2. But even if you thinkest of it as being constantly born and constantly dying, even then, O mighty arm, thou shouldest not grieve. 27. For certain is death for the born, and certain is birth for the dead. Therefore, over the inevitable thou shouldest not grieve. Now, when we really think about it, we realize that from the moment that we are born, the only sure thing is that the body will drop, that at a certain point in time, the body will perish and there will be this condition called death, the separation of the physical body from the energetic body. So we all know it. Most of us are trying not to think about it most of the time. It's not a very pleasant thought for most of us. But we know that this is the case. And here, Lord Krishna is reminding Arjuna, and of course through Arjuna to us, that there is the other half. Okay, yes, certain is death to the one who is born, but certain is birth to the one who is dead. So is the cycle of reincarnation. And if we really want the full perspective, we need to see the full cycle. And Swami Shivananda writes in commentary, first, Lord Krishna here, for the sake of argument, takes up the popular supposition, meaning that Lord Krishna does not teach here that the self dies or the self being born, because we know this is not the case. It was already taught when we saw the verses about the Jnana Yoga, and it will be repeated again and again because it's a very, very important teaching. But for the sake of the argument, meeting us where we are, Lord Krishna takes the popular supposition and says, okay, even if you're still there, even if you're still going with this paradigm, that the self undergoes changes, so why see only half the change? Why see only the part that whatever is born also dies? Also, whatever dies also is reborn. And when we see that, we have the full perspective. Swami Shivananda writes, birth is sure to happen to that which is death. Death is sure to happen to that which is born. Birth and death are certainly unavoidable. Therefore, you should not grieve over the inevitable matter. So again and again, Lord Krishna is trying to pull Arjuna from his grief, this time by coming down to the popular supposition and explaining that there is a cycle, birth, death, birth. We always say it's the cycle of birth and death, but it's actually birth, death, birth, and so on and so forth. And of course, when we understand it, we also understand a little bit, this gives us a little bit of access into the law of karma, understanding that whatever we do in this life not only affects us in this life, but will also affect us in the next life, because there is a next life, and it is inherently connected to the way we live this life. So we understand a little bit more the significance of dharma. But we will reach that later. For now, it's just building up the perspective so that the teaching can be given, the practices. 28. Beings are unmanifested in their beginning, manifested in their middle state, O Arjuna, and unmanifested again in their end. What is there to grieve about? And Swami Shivananda tells us in the commentary, the physical body is a combination of the 5 elements. Remember? Ether or space, air, fire, water, and earth. So we have 5 elements that together, combine, they build up this body. Now, the body is seen by the physical eyes only after the 5 elements have entered into such combination, into the particular combination of this body. After death, the body disintegrates and the 5 elements go back to their source. In some religions they say ashes to ashes. The body goes back to the elements from which it was comprised. It cannot be seen. Therefore, the body can be seen only in the middle state. So, the common simile is that of a pot made of clay. So, we have first the clay, it's in the form of a lump, and then the potter comes and turns it into this beautiful, beautiful vase. And then the vase breaks, or, with time, it disintegrates. And it goes back to the element. What we have? Clay. The name and the form change. So Lord Krishna reminds again and again, the only thing that changes is the name and the form. And the body is just something that you see in the middle, in between the elements, not being together to comprise the body, to build this body. And then there is the body, and then it disintegrates. So again, no body, no name, no form. But it's just the physical body. So this is the second part of the argument that we are getting in chapter 2 about the continuity of the soul, the immortal soul. We heard first from Jnana Yoga, and now the popular supposition of birth and death. Again, there is a cycle. And how does this continue? We will see in the next talk. Om Shanti.